Welcome to the Ref Show, the penultimate weekend of Premier League fixtures we'll look back on here. And one subject dominates. It's quite spooky, really. Handball is the big talking point. The number of offences not detected, number of penalties that should have been awarded. This is one for our panel of Brian Deane and Dean Mohareb this weekend. But first of all, sorry about the pun, you've got to hand it to Chelsea, Premier League champions in the first season of Antonio Conte, and they've done it with a smile on many faces, Brian.
I just think they've been superb. Probably, Tottenham and Chelsea by far the two best teams, but the consistency with Chelsea have gone about this. Once they decided on a system of 3-4-3, they stuck with it, had the ideal personnel to fill the roles, and I think what you're going to find now is that wing-backs are going to be in big demand because, as I remember as player, you get a system and all of a sudden it's about that's the new system, So I think that he's come in, he's been a breath of fresh air, he's got on with it, he's an ex-player, which, he understands what it's like to be on the other end. I just think it's fantastic.
And you think he's going to be a trendsetter in the way that he plays as well. Fittingly, on the night that they clinched it, 1-0 winners at West Brom, a champion performance maybe from Michael Oliver as well.
Yeah, he's had another good season, Michael. Very good referee, one for the future. Hopefully he can step up to replace Mark Clattenburg, because he, for me, is one of two referees, him and Anthony Taylor, who are good enough now to move into that elite group of UEFA. So again, he resounded. The performance was a resounding one. He had no issues at all, and in a game really where Chelsea were keen to win, keen to get the title clinch. So he did well.
Did it. And to quote Andy Hogg on his RefCam blog, made it look easy, confident without being arrogant. I think those few words say quite a lot about.
It's always good when you watch a game like that and you can't remember a lot from the referee.
Yeah.
As I remember the game, it just flowed, and that's testament to his performance.
We will just go to one incident that's relevant after I've mentioned Everton won Watford 0, which was Kevin Friend's game on the Friday night, where by common consent, Lukaku was stripped and Everton should have had a penalty. But we go back to the Michael Oliver game, because perhaps if there was one blip on that, and I've seen this on Twitter quite a few times in slow-mo, there was the most blatant handball by Johnny Evans of West Brom. It wasn't crucial. I think it was in the midfield area, where he just scooped his hand round the ball and rolled it into the desired position. Went undetected. And it's only relevant because of the number of incidents that were more crucial than that weren't detected over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk on Ref Show Extra later about handball, and it's such a difficult law to interpret for a referee, because the word intentional is there. The referee has to determine not whether it's just handball, but whether it's an intentional handball. But I think a common theme from this weekend's games is that the team have got to come together and pick the offences up. There's a lot of assistant referees, we've mentioned it a lot this season, who are ducking decisions. For whatever reason, they're not getting involved. And these handballs are a perfect example where the assistant referee can help the referee with the viewing angle that they've got. And for me, handball, although it's subjective, the ones we've seen this weekend have been clear errors.
And do you think the other officials could have helped, for instance, in the sake of Hull City? Well, OK, they've gone down and they can have no complaints. They were walloped 4-0 at Crystal Palace. However, in that game, a handball by Zaha of Palace was not detected, leading to a corner. Yeah. I think that was the assistant's call as well, which led to a goal.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there was a handball. I think Adam Nunn was the assistant referee who hasn't picked it up. They've then had a corner and scored. So for me, there's a lot to do before there's a goal scored there, but it's still an incorrect decision that led to the corner.
And Hull should have had a penalty when Punch and handballed at the other end. So
well, I think they should have. Yeah, and as well, you could have gone for the push on that as well. So there was two offences he could have picked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Handball, are players a little bit more confused, Brian, about the way that the handball law will be executed and interpreted now than they were in your day? Was there less confusion in your day?
First of all, I think that handballs happen so quickly, that from a player's point of view, you expect, if you've done it deliberately, you expect it to be picked up on. But it's, the game happens so quickly that I don't think you have time really to. Having said that, there was a goal scored at the weekend where you think, well,
we'll come to that. We will come to that. Yeah, Peter Crouch.
I think as well there are examples where I know what you're saying about. We think about handball, maybe where you're scoring or whatever, but there are examples where players do make themselves bigger, though. In an attempt.
Strike.
Well, sometimes it happens to strike, and sometimes it's an act where they're deliberately trying to make themselves bigger from distance. They could get the body into other positions.
Yeah. Andre Mariner's game was Sunderland 0, Swansea 2. Swansea stay up. Great. Paul Clements done a fantastic job there. Sunderland already down. A handball by a Swansea player in the wall in that game.
Yeah.
Man, Sunderland should have had a penalty. And West Ham 0, Liverpool 4. Another incident in this. Okay, it was clear-cut victory for Liverpool, but Wijnaldum handled, did he?
Wijnaldum.
West Ham should have had a penalty.
He handled, and again, there was 2 offences here. It was a push. I think Mark Scholes was here, said he's got the best view in the house. And again, he's had an indifferent game because he's had an excellent non-offside, which led to one of Liverpool's goals. Really good non-offside, but then he's not got involved in a real key decision. So
can I just say, did anybody see? The Wijnaldum incident? There was another incident going on. It just coming out a camera shot where somebody's got wrestled to the ground. That could have been a penalty as well. Yeah. Don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. I've seen that referred to over the weekend. Yeah. Well, let's finish part 1 on a positive for a match official. One who's perhaps been much maligned, depending on your view. In part 2, by the way, plenty more action, including debate about the Peter Crouch handball, clear handball goal, championship playoffs, and many other issues as well. But Spurs. Farewell to White Hart Lane, fittingly with a victory, 2-1 over Manchester United. John Moss was in charge of that. Now, his selection raised a few eyebrows. There were people saying, well, hang on, this is a really big game. Should it go to Moss? But he did well, didn't he?
John Moss is a good referee. I work with John a lot on the Championship, and one of the things that he's very, very good at is managing players. He's very good at building rapport with players. He's very good at doing a lot off the ball. Where he's getting a lot of stick at the moment, I think, is his physique and the way that he moves. But actually, referees ultimately judged on big decisions. And in this game, there was no issues. He got the decisions right. He had a couple of cautions in the first half. He set things down, sorted the tempo of the game out. He's an experienced referee. He's refereed the cup final.
Yeah, indeed.
So this is an experienced referee. So he had a good game.
Yeah, he always appears to be struggling to catch up with play at times, and not the most athletic. But if he just could add that to his game, he's going to be right up there, isn't he?
If you look at referees in the past, Jeff Winter, Phil Dowd, Neil Midgley when he was on, there is sort of a stereotype that a referee has to be slim, 6'4". Some of the referees use other attributes to manage through a game, personality being one. It's very important, and John's one of those referees. So yeah, in an ideal world, he'd be 6'2", but that's not how he's built. So. He's fit because we know he's fit because pre-season,
it's all relative,
during the season,
yeah.
But in comparison to some of the other referees, then he's not as athletic. But it doesn't make him a bad referee.
No,
he's actually had a really good second half of the season, I think, John Moss.
Well done, John Moss. Finally, for this part of the show, the farewell to White Hart Lane, one of the iconic, famous football stadiums of this country. Have you got any special memories, Brian, of playing that, or even bad memories? Let me ask you.
One of my favourite memories in my Leeds career, especially, was a goal I scored for Leeds against Tottenham, and we both went into the game being able to qualify for Europe, and Tottenham scored first. So in the second half, I picked the ball up deep into our half, and I ran 3/4 of the length and scored. So
wow,
that was. That was one of my favourite goals, and I've actually shared it on Twitter this week, and it's gone mad. Because
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Leeds fans have, it was a brilliant time for us at that club as well. And you listen to the supporters. I remember the trip home. We had a lot of champagne on the bus, and we were all having a party on the bus going back up to Leeds from London. It was fabulous. He even got a smile out of Howard Wilkinson as well.
That I don't believe. I believe the goal. I'm going to check the video evidence for the goal. A run from your own half. That wasn't a typical Brian Deane goal.
Well, it was actually. You don't give me the credit I deserve.
No, well, you scored from near the touchline. You scored from the touchline against Liverpool, dribbling Bruce Grobbelaar on one occasion, and scored from a ridiculous angle. So you did score with those feet, quite a few.
I wasn't just somebody who hung around at the back post.
No.
Although I did that later on in my career because I couldn't move. But
yeah. Well, fittingly, this show airs among other places on Made TV in Leeds. So that will go down a storm, Brian. It really will.
Leeds.
Enough. You're in Sheffield now, by the way. That's where the studio is. Dean will rejoin us for part 2 of the Ref Show, and I'm sure you will too. See you then.